back to the news at 10. Life for residents of 13 villages in Obiohia, Obi Ibere, in Abia State, southeastern Nigeria, is not easy. They say provision of basic social amenities like roads, health center, amongst others, are lacking. They are calling on the government to come to their aid. Our community report tonight looks at a people in desperate need of quick intervention.
You're talking.
This sign clearly says welcome. But aside from the people living here, there's nothing hospitable about this land made up of two communities in Abia State, southeast Nigeria. Consisting of 13 villages, the complaints here are in packages. The first has to do with their means of livelihood, agriculture and firewood. Besides the problem of still having to cultivate farmland manually, there's also the matter of transportation due to bad roads, which itself makes the economic viability bleak.
For passing years now, we used to produce a lot of things from our village here, but due to there's no road, everything we produce, we know the function. Nobody they came here and buy our things because we used to produce garri and plantain and the pineapple and the firewood. A lot of this firewood. People from outside used to come here because of the road. They will come again. So now we need government to come and help us, because the community have already tried to patch the roads by themselves.
The next is potable water, which is virtually non-existent. The best that comes to the villagers is this stream where all public and private activities happen.
Dam is very good.
And in the eventuality that anyone falls ill due to either stress from the farm or from contaminated water, the healthcare available is ill-equipped to cater for any medical concerns. It is interesting to note that the clinic is said to have been established sometimes in the 80s.
The health center where we get here, as they build the town where they fine. You know, those things, they go correct again. No nurse, no doctor. For where then they born, the house they leak. No water, no medicine.
Education is not left out, as dilapidated school structures adorn the community. This primary school, for instance, was built in the 60s. This secondary school in 2001. The school is stocked with books, but lacks a conducive environment to read. And where there's a complement of computers, there's neither electricity or skills to operate them. Try as the teachers and students might, it is not easy to pass or gain knowledge in an environment like this.
And this is one of the reasons why at times when we post permanent teachers, they don't comfortably sit here. Some of them will ask for transfer. They don't come because of the bad news. And during rainy season, you find it difficult to come here. And we that are permanent teachers here, anytime you signal like expecting rainfall, every one of us will leave.
This should not be seen as just another sad tale of poverty, but the call to those in positions to act, as turning a blind eye to the plight of those in need today may just be the unfolding of bigger problems for the nation tomorrow.
Etisala, now you're talking.
President Muhammad Buhari today arrived in Tehran, the capital of Iran, to participate in the gas exporting countries summit holding tomorrow. The president was received at the Mahrabad International Airport by the Iranian Deputy President, Mr. Shariat Mardi, around 4:44 p.m. Nigerian time. Others at the airport to welcome the president include officials of the Nigerian embassy in Iran, led by the Charge d'Affaires, Dr. Ali Magashi, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyema, and the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, and the National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Munguno, were also at the airport to welcome Mr. President. Buhari, who is expected to meet with his Iranian counterpart, Hassan Rouhani, during his two-day visit to Tehran, will hold bilateral talks with other participating heads of state and government on the sidelines of the GECF summit. Recently, the hopes of Nigerians were again raised about an improved power sector when the president announced former Lagos State Governor as the Minister of Power, Works and Housing. For many, his track record gives a strong indication that results will be achieved in the sector. Now, what should the Power Minister be doing in the first 3 months in office to ensure that power is available to all Nigerians? I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Engineer Arthur Osiago, a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Managing Director of Power Systems Engineering firm based here in Lagos. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10.
Thank you, Gimba.
What do you suppose will be the difference Fashola will bring into the power sector to make a difference, a marked difference for Nigerians to see?
First of all, I think we need to look at the issues and all the problems bedeviling the power sector as we stand. In 2005, we had a electricity power sector reform, which gave birth to a reorganization in the entire power sector. And that gave birth to NERC to regulate all the issues surrounding the power sector. But we now had the reform, having the GENCOs and the DISCOs coming into being, which took exclusively the initial arrangement we had with NEPA. Now, with the problems we're having now, is that after that arrangement, we had a system where we had a power purchase agreement and the Nigerian bulk electricity trader, which is supposed to take all the power generated from the GENCO in case the DISCOs are unable to pick all this power. But as I speak now, there is a debt of over 350 billion naira that the government is owing the GENCO. So that is a big problem that has not been solved. Then coming back to the DISCOs, these DISCOs too are having a barrage of problems in terms of infrastructure based on what they found when they took over from PACN. Now there is no infrastructure on ground. The idea was that for them to improve on the infrastructure from PACN so that they can, as time goes on, be talking about maybe increment in the tariff. But that has not been done. But the only issue they are talking about is the increment, which NERC has already approved for them. So the new Minister for Power should look at this issue and ensure that the approval given to the DISCOs to, come up with new tariff should be stopped, and ensure that what the DISCOs are supposed to do, as I said, first thing first, what they are supposed to do to ensure that they invest in ensuring that the infrastructure in terms of the distribution chain is first of all put in place before they can be talking about increment in the tariff. Now, apart from that, we also have issues with the transmission. You know that when the power sector reform came up, the TCN was not privatized. That was left alone for the government to manage because of security issues. As we speak now, the grid capacity is less than 7,000, which means by the time we generate all the powers we are talking about from the DISCOs, the transmission company of Nigeria will not be able to wheel this power to the DISCOs. So therefore, we still have the issues not resolved. Now, coming back to the area of the DISCOs, they depend on the GENCOs to give them that power to distribute to the consumers.
How much power has been generated now?
Currently, we are hovering around 4,200. But even at that 4,200, of course, you agree with me, is grossly inadequate. Now, even if we generate up to 10,000 or 20,000, we don't have the grid capacity to also transmit that to the DISCOs.
That's the
that
structure.
leaves, of course, that leaves the issue of what we call the embedded power. If we have challenge in the area of wheeling this power to the DISCOs, it therefore means that we need to look at embedded power as an option. You can as well look at the distribution zone and think about putting a generating station within the confines of that of that disco to ensure that they have enough power to be able to distribute to the consumers.
So what do you expect to happen in the next 3 months of his administration?
First, what I expect the new minister to do is to jettison the approved new tariff for Gencos, for the discos, because there's nothing on ground to warrant that tariff. Secondly, even if, as I said, we generate all the powers we need in this country, we don't have the grid capacity to wheel it. So we need to look at the embedded power option for generating stations to ensure that they have a small package generating station within the distribution network. That will solve this problem as quickly as possible, because it is not easy for you to start generating power from the Gencos and start thinking of transmitting them with the capacity we have now. If we have to do that, it's going to take us 4, 5, 6 years.
I want to appreciate your time. My apologies, of course.
Yeah.
I want to appreciate your time, Engineer Arthur Osiago, for talking to us on the News at 10, a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and of course the Managing Director, Power Systems Engineering firm based here in Lagos. Many thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you.
The Department of Petroleum Resources, the DPR, is still enforcing the Petroleum Minister's directive on free distribution of fuel during being hoarded. This time, it has slammed its penalty on 2 filling stations caught hoarding fuel in Kwara State. However, the situation is positive in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, where the NNPC mega station is offering a 24-hour supply of fuel to motorists there. Buyers of premium motor spirits create a rowdy scene. A gas station in Asa local government area in Ilorin West in Kwara State, north central of Nigeria, is one of the worst hit. Monitoring officers of the Department of Petroleum Resources inspect the situation on the ground.
We have discovered that there is a complication which is an additional burden that is responsible for these queues. It's not just about the scarcity, but the scarcity is being complicated by the panic from the side of the buyers and consumers of this product.
During the ward round, a gas station was found to be hoarding fuel against the federal government's directive. The monitoring team from the Department of Petroleum Resources immediately ordered a free distribution of fuel as a penalty for non-compliance.
When we got to this place, we dipped and discovered that they were hoarding 2,300. So we are simply enforcing the ministerial directive. We are giving the fuel free to fellow Nigerians that needs it.
At Adewale area, another station was found to have defaulted and same free distribution sanction was placed.
I really enjoyed it, and God will help the government. This is the type of government we want in Nigeria, and we know peace will reign, inshallah.
This selling of fuel free by the station which allegedly engage in the hoarding of fuel, I think it will go a long way. I think it's a welcome development as far as I'm concerned. It will serve as deterrent to those who might have it at back of the mind to cheat members of the public.
The DPR controller says that the airing stations will still face more sanctions, while warning other stations to desist from the act of hoarding fuel. Some gas stations in Nasarawa are said to have complied fully with the federal government's directive, as the NNPC mega station offers 24-hour service since 20th of November. A motorist speaks on the situation.
This is only the function of the government. It's only the government that can be able to make the kerosene available for the masses.
To reassure stranded motorists across the state of continuous fuel supply, the NNPC station manager confirms additional supply of a truckload of petrol.
End of last week, they bring 1 truck of 3,000 liters of this DPK, and we appreciate. And now our customers are available, and we start selling to them at the official price.
While Nigerians appreciate government's intervention of the fuel situation, How to sustain its distribution by the Nigerian government remains a big concern. The fourth edition of the annual Zik Lecture Series has highlighted unemployment and inequality as key for sustainable development. This year, the lecture series, organized by the Faculty of Social Sciences of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, brought together renowned lecturers and leaders from across the African continent. Leaders were charged to provide structures that will encourage enterprise and eradicate issues like unemployment and poverty.
The arrival of dignitaries and guest lecturers at the university auditorium set the ball rolling for the occasion that brought together governors, great scholars, traditional rulers, and young potential leaders of tomorrow, the students. It's the annual Zik Lecture Series of the Faculty of Social Sciences of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, a forum which encourages quality interaction and conversations among leading scholars, students, and individuals towards the development of Nigeria and the African continent, while keeping the memory of the ideals of Nigeria's Pan-African leader, late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, alive. First, let's listen to the preambles.
Of all the factors of production, land, labor, and capital, it is only labor that has the potential to activate itself and activate the two other factors of production.
In a situation in which the carrying capacity of the state is dwindling by the day, entrepreneurship stands out as a veritable hope.
One thing people have not forgotten about the great Zik, he was a tribalized Nigerian.
In the first lecture titled The New Vista of Entrepreneurship, Engaging the Unengaged Hands in Africa, a renowned world motivational speaker from Uganda, Ethan Musili, it's of the opinion that economic empowerment and demonstration of practical skills should be celebrated because it could open the vista for creation of more jobs.
We have suggested to us that our forefathers, like Nnamdi Azikiwe, who mentored Kwame Nkrumah, their movement was about letting Africa to be independent, self-determination. And I'm here to suggest to you and underline this, that unless we empower ourselves economically, then we are not free. We are not independent. Before it was Pan-Africanism, now is the time to celebrate African entrepreneurship. That's the future.
For the State Governor, poverty anywhere remains a potential threat to prosperity everywhere. Therefore, leaders must strengthen the bridge of unity, which is capable of dousing the feeling of inequality.
Ahead on the news at 10. Aqua United, our 2015 Federation Cup champions, beat Lobby Stars 2-1 in today's finals. That's on Sports News. Join us again.